Loki sits at the center of the multiverse, protecting us all from the variance of He Who Remains. On the Money podcast sits in the center of your week to protect you from all the BS that gets regurgitated by the talking heads of the national media. We sit here on podcast night and help you get through the rest of the week leading up to kickoff on Sunday. Welcome to another edition of On the Money podcast, live from the On the Money Sports Lounge. Let's go is right, because we are here live in living color in the epicenter of nostalgia mania, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of On the Money Oh shit, look at that. Now we know who it is.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
The name's coming up as Facebook user, but
that's crazy.
I now know who that is. Hello, RJ.
I hope that doesn't come up with everybody. But
how are you doing?
We're here live, and alongside me, as always, none other than Oscar Money Muniz.
I'm just trying to see how this is working.
See how everything's rolling right now. Okay,
Chris
this
is
looks
watching
good.
with us.
This looks good. Oh shit, yeah, they're that first comment was Julio. It's not
Julio?
saying their name though. I'm looking at the comment right now. This is a new setup for us, new program. We're doing things a little bit differently. We're spicing things up. We're changing the view, rebranding, retooling, and making things a little bit more aesthetically pleasing for those of you following along with us that have been following along with us. I'm super excited for an action-packed episode tonight. We got a big Thursday night football game going on tomorrow. We've got basketball going on as we speak, and a huge slate of Sunday football, and a lot of questions surrounding a whole bunch of teams, as now each and every week we're seeing the playoff picture, and it's starting to get a little bit clearer. But for certain teams that were once contenders, it's starting to get a little bit more blurry, not to mention the piece de la resistance, if that's the right phrase, a Monday night Super Bowl rematch showdown between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll do our best to tackle all of that here tonight live.
I wish I could see the names. I don't know.
Right? It's not. I'm seeing the names while I'm following the feed off of my phone, but I can't see the names.
Because it's even saying on.
It's saying the names here. See Julio, RJ.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
We're figuring this out as we're going.
We'll figure it out.
I'm messing around.
We got you guys' identities blocked.
I upgraded the Restream studio and got a bunch of stuff. I just don't understand why I can't see your guys.
I'm gonna look, baby. We got the wrestlers on the top shelf. We've got the He-Man universe on the middle shelf, and down here where you can't see, we got the Transformers multiverse. So it's all connecting. That's what we're doing here. We're taking this in. This is like when WCW took their shows out of those dimly lit arenas and they went to Disney Studios where the ring was spinning, the lights were just a little bit brighter. Like, this is what we're doing for this week's podcast here. We're just switching things up a little bit. We were sitting over there last week. We had the TV back there that was showing us. Some people liked it. Some people might have thought that was a little bit weird, but this year, like WCW, we're going with week
people
by week.
Thinking we're marks for ourselves.
Yeah, like we had ourselves in the background on the TV, and it was just like an endless loop of just that in the background, like in Spaceballs when they could see themselves.
Yeah,
on the TV. So we're trying some new things, and I'm super excited for it. What's up to Chris for checking in? RJ saying that the Eagles win by 5. I'll have my thoughts and theories on that matchup as we work our way down the slate.
I guess they have to give permission to Restream to allow them to show their names on it. That's what I believe.
Oh, everybody. Okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, Draymond Green has been suspended.
5-game suspension for Draymond Green that was just handed out as we were heading over to Casa de Money. Got the alert on my phone. I thought it was going to be more games. That man put the cross-faced chicken wing on Rudy Gobert. And it's crazy because Rudy Gobert was just trying to break up the shoving. I don't think Klay Thompson wanted any smoke. All Klay Thompson does is throw up the 4 fingers for the championships, but he's not about that action. And Rudy
He hasn't been about much this season.
Rudy was just trying to separate the two, and I just find it funnier that Draymond Green attacked the guy that was trying to break up the fight. However, we know there's history there between these two. And also, Steph Curry wasn't playing. So maybe what Rudy Gobert was saying might be partially true, that when Steph ain't playing, Draymond don't want to play.
Yeah.
So he's like, what's the craziest thing I can do right now to get myself officially ejected? Oh, I know. I'll start choking this guy. Not to mention, he got ejected like 3 nights ago, too.
The guy did, like, I don't know.
Something wrong.
Put him in a chokehold. Y'all are right about that.
Straight up. Yes, he did. That was Julio, by the way. Yeah, it's weird seeing like Facebook user on there.
Yeah.
But eventually we're gonna figure it out. All right. Eventually we are going to figure it out.
Hell, I might go
What up, Serge?
Friday night or something.
And try to work out the kinks.
Yeah.
It's all right though. It's all right. We have a lot of visual aids to distract you while we put this together, while we work out the kinks for what we are doing moving forward. Nonetheless, I'm excited to be here. It's the week before the Thanksgiving week, so you already know we've got 3 football games going on next Thursday, which is huge for fantasy football. It's huge for real football for a lot of these teams. I haven't looked at the slate for next week.
Surge!
For this week,
6-3, baby, 6-3, Surge!
For this week, you want to have as much momentum as possible heading into a week where you have, you might be potentially starting 5 or 6 guys on Thanksgiving Thursday, because this is the nitty gritty. This is the witching hour of the fantasy football season.
There's a lot going on.
There's a ton
basketball
going
We're
on.
in the equinox. Well, now it's
hockey, basketball,
football. Well, baseball's trying to get a little interesting with their free agency, but it's just not working for
Bobby,
me.
bro, shout out to you, man. Miss you too, bro. Hope all is well. Hope you
Nothing
had safe
but love,
travels.
even though you whooped my ass as sick picks. Screw you, Joe Burrow.
Just taking him out of the playoff picture.
That's all. I'm still in the playoff picture. I'm in the 6th spot.
League? Okay.
I'll take it.
I'm in the 5. I'm in the 5 spot. I play Bobby this week, matter of fact. That's a big matchup between him and I.
Draymond is master and BJJ with that choke.
Baby Rudy.
Rudy.
When people started posting the baby boy clip when his stepdad had him choked up and he was calling for his mom, that shit it's been amazing, bro. It's been amazing. The NBA was super entertaining last night. It had no business being that entertaining. You had the minor scuffle between the Lakers and the Grizzlies.
Clay Gobert and McDaniels were all fined $25,000 by the NBA. What's that, like $10 to them?
Yeah, as long as they're managing their money right. You'd like to think so. But, yeah, definitely a super interesting night in the National Basketball Association, including another Clippers loss. So the last time we were live, they hadn't won. And now we are live again, and they still haven't won a game. So
Chris, I'm back in the playoff pushing sick picks. That is correct.
Yeah, and you got a big matchup in sick picks as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Sick picks is 8 seeds.
8 seeds, yeah. Anything can happen. That's what I was just discussing.
Anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation.
In our Dynasty Superflex League, Slick is currently 1-9, drizzling shits, losing every single week. However, it's a 10-man Superflex with 8 playoff spots, and he's technically only 2 games out of the 8th seed. So with 4 weeks left of the fantasy football season, he can get right back into the mix. What up, Drew?
PG isn't getting the touches he used to get. Thanks, Harden.
Well, Harden
is PG owned by
Harden was the assist
Drew?
specialist that I kept hearing about last year when you know
hindering my fantasy team.
Oh boy, it's all right, man. It's all right. Last time I checked, I think you were in pretty good shape as far as the Supreme Baller Society. Shout out to Supreme Baller Society. Week 3 of the Fantasy Basketball League. Week 3 of the South Jersey Misfits Basketball League that we've got going on.
3-0, baby. Looking to go 4-0 this week.
I'm 1-1. It's week 4. Sorry, week 4. I'm 1-1. I'm looking to go 2-1.
You got a Draymond Green stat, triple single.
Like I got a triple single going on that I need to eradicate immediately because I am not going to allow what happened to me the last 2 years to happen this year, where everything just falls off the rails for me. And there's like, I go into this weird.
You did really good last year. And then
started good. and
like,
then collapsed.
you were like one of the top teams. Then you went like 6 straight weeks without a W.
Yeah, because I got fleeced when I traded Brunson away.
Yeah, that was stupid.
And I thought it was smart at the time, and it was actually a terrible deal for me, and I never recovered from that specific trade. We're 1 week removed from the trade deadline, or 1 week leading into the trade deadline for fantasy football. So this is it.
Yo, Gridiron Goats, guys. If you don't like my offer, just decline it. Don't just leave it sitting there.
They don't even look.
Like, damn, stop leaving me on red.
They're not looking right now, bro.
It's a hard thing for me to send out the beeper.
And that's actually the tightest 6-team playoff race out of all the leagues I'm in with 6 playoff spots is that one. Because you've got like the 4 and 6 teams, the 3 and 7s. Then you got the 4 and 6s that are kind of holding on like by a thread to their spot. Because right now, if you're sitting in that spot as a 6th seed or an 8th seed in the 8-man playoff spots, you're just trying to get a win this week and just hold on, or just push your team maybe 1 ring up the ladder to keep your spot solidified and safe, because playoff spots are about to start getting clinched now like
RJ,
crazy.
Hot take, I hated the in-season tournament court colors for the Sixers.
I hate all of them.
Chris, I did that to Terrell in League of Boom today, trying to send me Zach Wilson after that shit show this morning.
Oh my God, the trade that went down this morning.
What happened?
Check your
I had a long day of listening.
Boom.
Guys, I only took a 10-minute break. I worked almost 11 hours today.
The trade that you are going to see that was completed was an offer that was offered to multiple parties this morning. Terrell was the party that accepted the offer. There was a little bit of a mix-up because they had a few different trades going on at one time. It was a debacle.
Lamar Jackson, DK Metcalf.
What up, Nolan?
For Amari Cooper, Cortland Sutton. What the hell?
What do you think about that? This is the first time Oscar is seeing the trade from the league that we are all a part of.
Who approved
that? Rob.
That shit wouldn't get approved in my league.
Why? What is it? What is it about that trade that scares you?
The running back
When I first saw it.
Well, you know what? Timeout. It doesn't mean shit now with Deshaun Watson gone for the year. So what's Cooper going to do with a rookie quarterback?
We don't know. He might do well. We don't
we'll see
know
about that.
Listen. This week is a bad matchup for them. But
somebody wants me to say the trade again. Terrell will receive Amari Cooper, Cortland Sutton, David Montgomery, and Zach Wilson for Lamar Jackson and DK Metcalf. Is Terrell having second? Like,
what up, Mike D?
Why would you give up Lamar Jackson and Metcalf for those 4?
This trade was offered to multiple people in the league, and Terrell accepted it like 30 seconds after I had seen it in my inbox. So Jose was trying to unload a few players.
And they had another trade. Puka for Gabe Davis.
I love it too, brother. Looking forward to the Freebird podcast when you're down here. We're hopefully giving people some good advice on making some bets. I might drop some gems depending on, how much I win. I'm just trying to keep it humble. But yes, this is the new setup. We may be switching some things around, but right now I think that
what happened was I had a LED strip that was going to go over the top.
That's right.
So when I turned it on, it just kept flashing and it pissed me off. Like, that's not what I wanted.
Yeah, it wasn't going to work because of the lighting. Yeah, because of the way the lighting is right now. It's like too bright for the LED light to be as effective. But right now, I like this. And then you got this going on in the backdrop. Bunch of Hall of Famers on the top row. It's Nostalgia Mania, bro. Like, our Nostalgia Mania podcasts are going to be freaking insane
because
now.
I still have dioramas to make. I got my Brother Love figure upstairs, as a matter of fact, and I'm going to make the whole Brother Love podium, the whole thing. I just need to get a Rick Martel figure so I could have him spray Jake.
Who do you think won that trade?
Nobody won that trade. Well, maybe the guy who got Lamar Jackson and Metcalf.
That is Jose, currently sitting at the number 2 seed, right? A number 2 seed or number 1 seed? Because Mikey's on a 6-game winning streak in League of Boom. So Mikey and him are either the 1 and the 2 seeds. I'm sitting like in the 4 spot right now. But I'm also sitting in like a crazy ass division because it's me, it's Jose, it's RJ, it's you, And then it's Julio, who is just having a very hard time in fantasy football this year.
Julio, did you just rein it in yet, bro?
I don't know what's going on, but
nobody could trade with you, bro.
He's on the verge of making history with his year 2023.
Noli believes the Lamar side won by far. The other guys got a bunch of bench players. That would be Terrell. Show me a highlight on that one.
If this goes bad, it will fall under the same category.
It's going to fall under the Derrick Henry trade he made earlier.
Yes. It's going to fall under.
And it's going to turn into either A, I was sick, B, I was hungover, or C, I was high as hell.
Bro,
as the reasons as to why the trade took place.
Terrell has made a sequence of head-scratching trades in the last couple of weeks.
The greatest worst season ever.
Yeah, he's Detroit Lions 2016 right now. Like, he's on pace to do some historic shit.
Terrell, you might as well pack up the trophy from Sick Picks, the worst fantasy player. We need Julio's address. We're gonna send it to
he doesn't have the worst record in Sick Picks, does he?
Oh, he doesn't?
Who's the worst in Sick Picks?
Let's take a look.
I'm not sure.
Who's doing worse, Julio or Slick in Dynasty?
Slick. Slick has him by one game because Julio is currently, and I love you, buddy. Julio's currently 0-10, and Slick is currently 1-9.
Record again.
Jesus. Yeah,
you're
about to get the Sick Picks trophy too, bro.
Him and Mugger.
Oh shit! Yeah, League of Boom. Mikey took the first seed on the streak he's been on. You've been on a roll, bro. You beat me a couple weeks ago in that league. My team shit the bed against you. That was my 2 weeks ago. Turned around and tried to send me Zach Wilson, Madison, and Cooper for JT. Oof! So he tried to repackage part of the deal that he got, sent it out to Loud Clouds, who, was following the whole sequence of events in the group chat the entirety of the morning. So he knew what was going down, and he's probably looking at the inbox offer, just shaking his head, thinking good old Terrell. This is just so Rebel Haze, bro. Like, you can't help the nerve of this guy. Yeah, he's got balls of steel, bro.
Terrell's in the house. Business is business.
And there he is, ladies and gentlemen.
There he is. The man is, you know what? Let's highlight that.
Drizzlin Shits Enterprises.
The highlighted comment right now is Terrell.
Drizzlin Shits Enterprises has entered the group chat, and we're just here live. Just finished breaking down the
Julio said tomorrow
spicy
he's gonna wake
trade.
Up. He said tomorrow he's going to wake up and send beepers out to everyone.
We'll see. We'll be waiting. Can I have the spot next year? You need competition in that league. This is the Dynasty League before the Dynasty League that we made, which is you're a part of, Noli. Was everybody's first stab at it for the most part when it comes to Dynasty. And
he's not in our Champions Dynasty, is Noli?
No, he's in the Superflex with me. The league that we wish you were a part of. It's like the only league you didn't want to be a part of.
Because I knew True Money was being created. Had I known True Money was going to have
True Money. Well,
the extracurricular activities and the fleecing and this and that, I probably would have never created it, and I probably would have joined the Superflex.
Well, True Money won't be around next year, so
most likely it's not.
You'll have open availability.
It's a dead league.
The Big Money Dead League, which is crazy because I'm currently sitting in second overall in that league, leading my division by 2 games with a monster squad of running backs by the likes of, I got Breece Hall, I've got Austin Eckler, I've got Jonathan Taylor, I've got Rashad White. Like,
well, I ain't 1-9. Ho. My record's good. The only team I'm shitty in right now is my Gridiron Goats, which sucks because I've never been bad in that team.
Everybody right now, since we did put Julio out there, put your teams out there that you've been hanging on by a thread. Like, which of your teams are we going to most likely have to ring the bell on?
Your boy's been drunk with a Super Bowl hangover from last year in the On the Money Sports League.
Yeah, it's been crazy for you there, bro.
Most likely not going to the playoffs, and it's okay. It's okay. I went 2 years straight to the championship, went 1-1.
Safe.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. 2024. I'm already looking at the 2024 for that league.
Super Bowl hangover is real, bro.
However,
it happens.
True Legends, I'm coming. The Tribal Chiefs, the head of the table.
The league that is near and dear to your heart. Are you going to be able to focus on setting your playoff lineups for your other leagues, or are you just going to be consumed?
Plane has landed now, back in Jersey. Just say yo before I leave the airport. What's up, Chris? And good to hear that you came
safe,
back,
bro.
I'm sorry the game did not go the way you wanted it to go, but hey, you went to Vegas, and not a lot of us have ever been to Vegas, and that's just awesome to say.
It's definitely a top 5 destination spot for me. Hope that you get home safely. Glad that you landed on the East Coast safely. And hey, your Jets beat the Bills in week 1, so like who knows like what can happen this week. You got to check what your record is when you watch your team play, and then what your record is when you watch them at home, and then what their record is when you watch them in certain spots. You find the patterns and you try to figure out whatever works for you.
Oh, Slick Rick is 1-9.
Yeah, he's the drizzling shits.
In
a super flex.
Oh.
But he's 2 games out of the playoffs because it's 8 playoff seeds. So there's Mikey, who's 3-7, who has
all
the
of
8
Mikey's
seed.
is Mikey tied everything to the Giants in a lot of his leagues.
And it ruined
the
him.
2 leagues that I tied my future, I tied it because of Kenny Pickett fooled the shit out of me in the summer.
And I think that
boy, did I fall for that bullshit.
I think that it's partly our fault what happened to Mikey in some of these leagues, because I was part of the resistance against the Giants in July, where I just started saying, like, why are we hyping this team up? Yeah, like he was doubling down on his decisions from the get-go. As soon as draft season actually started,
We're gonna highlight this comment.
He was already so fired up. Shout out to Slick. He was already so juiced up from a month of our shit talking. Remember when we broke down the divisions, and he was there for the entirety of July with us for the podcast we were doing. And we were talking about training camp. We were talking about expectations, the contract that we still to this day talk about. You know what I mean? That might be in line with Deshaun Watson's as potentially one of the worst ever, but we just have to see it play out. We got what we got this past season. And, you know, it's like when he went up to the board in East Coast champs and 4th overall, he picked Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley has not been viable for fantasy he hasn't been good for fantasy. He's had a couple of good weeks, but overall he missed the month, and he's had the Vito situation, and it's just going up against tough run defenses. He just hasn't been.
Vito, what about Vito?
DeVito.
Oh.
DeVito. Danny DeVito's kid.
The kid. Yo, he wasn't worried about losing Sunday, guys. Mommy had his bed made and had chicken cutlets with
dinner was on the stove, bro. He didn't give a shit. He's getting all the exposure he wants. He's the man right now. He's starting for the New York Football Giants.
Well, Terrell has said got like 5 guys for a QB. End of the day, the pizza boy. What's the pizza? Oh,
DeVito.
Hey, DeVito. Ooh, that's right. Chris is a Giants fan.
Sutton, Montgomery, Cooper, Singapore. I'm glad that some people are opening their eyes to Cortland Sutton, because the dude is out there making shit happen on a weekly basis. I think we need to
stop shitting on Russell Wilson.
They've just beaten the Chiefs and the Bills back-to-back weeks.
He's quietly having a good season. You mean everybody's going to look at, they got beat 70 to whatever. He wasn't on the field giving up 70 points.
Their defense has gotten better since then. Not for nothing. I put them and you guys in that 7 seed. Like, both your teams, because I wasn't sure what the hell I was going to expect. And as of right now, like, Broncos are
Those are big wins.
Yeah.
Critical in the AFC.
Big time.
Very critical.
One division, and then you go up against Buffalo, who we called or thought they'd be a division winner, even though I picked Miami to win that division, and beat them both. And then on the flip side of it, such a terrible, terrible, terrible loss for the Buffalo Bills.
And the Broncos got the Vikings this week. The Vikings,
1-4
at one point, are now 6-4.
Undefeated since Jefferson got hurt. They have not lost.
He's eventually going to come back. Josh Dobbs is balling his ass off. He was playing pretty good in Arizona until all the players started getting hurt there.
Bro, I love the Russ Cortland Sutton stack, bro.
And Pittsburgh Steelers fans, please shut up about Dobbs being in Pittsburgh. We're going to wait 7 years for the guy to turn into this.
He was in Cleveland for years too.
Hey, no, he was in Cleveland back in August. They traded him before the season started because they had their QBs.
Before we get to Cleveland, let's talk about the debacle that is the Buffalo Bills.
All right, great. This is awesome. This is what I'm talking about. Little over it's November, October.
I don't know what's happening right now.
November 3. 4 months ago, 4.5 months ago, when I came on this podcast, when I went on a sports page group in one of my Facebook, I don't think you're a part of it, where I screenshotted stuff and sent it to y'all. I made the comparison that Josh Allen and Dak Prescott are basically the same guy, and all hell broke loose. Everybody said I was crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about.
They called you a madman.
He makes the playoffs. He's a big-time thrower. Dak chokes. And my rebuttal was, well, Josh does all the same things.
Chris already knew, bro. Chris has watched enough movies to know where this was going. At first, I had no clue where it was going. I thought you saw something on your phone.
So, I ask now, is Josh Allen elite? This morning, I got to listen. Well, not this morning. A little later, on my way home, I got to hear Dan Orlovsky say this morning, Josh Allen doesn't have an interception problem. The plays that he's making where he's getting intercepted are not terrible decisions. But in that same breath, 2 weeks ago, Prescott, who's thrown less interceptions than Josh Allen this year, he was killing the guy. Come on now. Same guy.
Last week on this podcast, I asked if the Buffalo Bills were the biggest disappointment this season, and they followed that up with a loss to the Denver Broncos on Monday Night Football, a game that they needed badly to kind of right the ship for themselves. All they've done was make things more chaotic. They fire their offensive coordinator. Meanwhile, their special teams had 12 men on the field, which, kind of helped trend them towards losing. Special teams coach still has his job. What do we do as far as the head coach? As far as what Orlovsky said this morning, I think that's Orlovsky just trying to jump ahead of the game and try to just be different or sound like a contrarian or whatever. I don't know what the hell he was talking about, but the reality is he does have an interception problem.
Marcus Spears looked at him like this.
Yeah, because he already knew. Marcus Spears is always shutting him down when he starts getting. He's got the Nick Wright type of energy sometimes. I
don't know how anybody can sit with a right mind. If you're gonna sit here, anybody, I'm not saying you. I'm just saying in general. If someone could sit across from me right now, and tell me they trust Josh Allen more in a playoff game than they do Dak Prescott, I'm gonna laugh at them in their face and be like, "It's the same guy."
It was a spicy comparison to make at the time because we were in the infancy of the football season. It had nothing even started yet. But we were talking
about crazy takes so far this year, and some of them have been all right.
We were talking about what the expectation was for Buffalo to right their ship this year after they shit the bed last year.
He can't turn the ball over, and he's done it twice as much this year.
And now who's Joe Brady? Who is it?
Joe Brady is now the offensive coordinator because Ken Dorsey he took the fall for it. Because at the end of the day, that's who's going to take the fall. Because we're going to create all these excuses for Josh Allen. Stephon Diggs doesn't even want to be there no more.
If Josh Allen throws 2 more picks, who do we blame this week?
We try to poo-poo it in the offseason. Oh, I want to be here. Bro, your brother screwed you when he came out and said all those things. I had sources. Little old me had sources that he wanted out.
Our connections are getting stronger.
Because I know someone who knows
we know a guy.
One of the starting linemen on the Bills team. And that person told me, my boy told me the team is starting to look at him like, whoa. and that there is real friction between him and Diggs.
Well, we saw it in the playoffs last year. We saw Stephon Diggs' Instagram post. We just don't know who he was that he was referring to. We're assuming it's the OC that got fired, but
bro, if that was Josh Allen,
Josh Allen, if he throws 2 more picks next week, what are you going to do now?
Oh, it's not an interception problem.
The special teams coach had 12 men on the field in that football game, and he still has his job. So,
McDermott's on the hot. Listen, if the Buffalo Bills miss the playoffs, which is a reality,
they are not in the picture currently.
Which is a reality. If they miss the playoffs, Sean McDermott's getting fired.
We got comments are flowing
because
of the comparison.
I don't mine's ain't updated.
So
I don't know why.
First,
anyway. Shit, I lost my train of thought. Damn it. I'm so hyped up.
I got you. What has Dak done in the playoffs to make you trust him more than Allen? Allen has been to championships. Allen has been to an AFC championship.
Oh, yeah. And what did he –
right?
What's he – listen, everybody is still –
no, was that the divisional round?
The 13-second? Yes.
Oh, that wasn't the AFC championship.
The year prior, they were in the championship game.
Right.
Listen, you guys are still enamored with a playoff game from 2 years ago. Two years ago. Like, what? No, he's not getting a pass no more.
Dak does non-football related mistakes in crunch time. If he's not throwing a pick, he's giving his lineman the ball to
And what is Josh Allen doing at crucial time?
This game your whole life. How do you forget the rules of the game? That's a Dak issue. Josh simply comes up short. Now I've seen Josh Allen do some weird shit, like when he threw it over his back that one time when he was running. Who was back?
He just did that not too long ago.
I was saying it. We criticized and chastised Sam Darnold because he openly said, "I'm seeing ghosts out there." Josh Allen has been seeing those ghosts the entire time, and he just doesn't say it out loud. Josh Allen didn't start putting up these types of prolific numbers until Stephon Diggs came to town. So his brother was right when he said that. But at the same time, I understand how, your brother kind of not being able to keep his mouth shut can create an even more uncomfortable situation as we start to unravel what the Buffalo Bills have become. We talked about their window this year being smaller, but we didn't expect it to damn near shut all over all 10 of their fingers the way that they've been losing football games.
Josh does not come up short. How are you telling me he comes up short? He throws critical picks in critical situations.
Well, he comes up short, like when he needs to win the games. He comes up short. And then with the Bengals, he doesn't show up at all. With the Bengals, he doesn't show up.
So we're going to boo-boo. You know what y'all do? You're coddling Josh Allen. You're coddling him like he's your little baby. The mother effer is my fantasy quarterback in Dynasty. I am tied to him. So I can talk all the shit I want.
A lot of us have Josh Allen.
He was my number 1 overall pick in Dynasty. So I can talk to you expect me to coddle him. Hell no.
I don't remember who my
Bro, he almost lost to Skylar Thompson in the first round of the playoffs last year.
He might lose to the Jets again. They might lose again to the Jets this week with Zach
Bro, every game is 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
When this defense was actually healthy, the Bills' defense looked like one of the best in football, but they've been just middle of the pack or less at best. Cortland Sutton with the amazing toe tap touchdown grab that he got. And then you're starting to watch this game, and you're seeing the Broncos take the lead, and you're saying to yourself, oh, my God, they can't beat the Denver Broncos right now. This is really bad. And maybe the OC threw up a stinker out there for this game. But I think the problems with the Bills,
that's the Eagles fan in you
way. But the problems with the Bills are from last year that still spilled into this season. And I really do think it might be a Josh Allen complex because, dude, the ball's in his hands so much. And a lot of the decisions that he's actually making out there on the field are just not good. But
playoff stats.
You also have James Cook with the fumble. It's across the board, bro. It's bad coaching. It's bad execution. It's a lot of different shit that they're just not doing correctly. It's 12 men on the field.
Yeah, that was wild.
That's a big deal. Okay, like that's a part that I don't feel like people are bringing up enough. Like this whole thing is from top to bottom. Like I can't imagine a situation now moving forward with Buffalo where McDermott's seat is not hot. It's like, bro, like what? You guys are about to miss the playoffs for real? As good as the AFC is, like you guys are not showing up. Skyler damn near beat them in that playoff game. The Bills fought for their lives to get out of the game with the backup quarterback against the Miami Dolphins team that, you know.
This is what I want to say.
We're looking up Skylar Thompson's stats.
Because he said he was balling, so let's see.
James Cook turned it around after the fumble. Josh Allen goes bad and stays there. Well, it could have been very ugly with James Cook if that ball doesn't bounce back into his hands. Because you remember when he had the clear path in the middle of the field, the ball just falls out of his clutches and bounces directly right back to him. If that ball takes a different bounce anywhere else, we're talking about James Cook having fumbled what could have potentially been a touchdown.
18 of 45, 220 yards, a touchdown, 2 picks, 4 sacks. Woo! Balling, bro. Balling.
I didn't think that Josh Allen and them were going to be able to blow out the Broncos. Like, early in the season when their defense was looking like a top 5 defense, I would have said, yeah, Buffalo just lost, so they're going to come back angry and get a W. But this is not the same Buffalo Bills team. And this is not the same Denver Broncos team. This Denver Broncos team now in back-to-back weeks, the Chiefs and bye week and then Buffalo. That's huge on the AFC side.
You know why they almost lost that? Because Josh Allen turned the ball over like twice or 3 times in that game. Didn't he throw like 3 picks?
The score was 34-31. The Buffalo Bills just had 4 turnovers on Monday night. And the interceptions aren't a problem.
I'm not coddling him no more. This guy got paid. He's getting paid almost $45 million a year. One of the highest guaranteed contracts in football. And he's not elite.
2 passer rating in the playoffs. He gets a bad rep because of how bad he played in those 49ers games.
So, no. Listen, the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen blew their load in that 13-second loss because they haven't been the same ever since.
Completely. They have never recovered from that football game.
They are mentally not there. They were a product of the last couple of years of a weak AFC East. The AFC East is now more competitive.
It's not weak anymore. The Patriots suck, but, you know, there's a lot of shit going on in that division right now. And the Miami Dolphins had the week off, so they're back, healthier. A-Chain is back in the fold.
Only I agree. Bill's window has closed.
Closed completely?
I think it's closed.
Because we're still kind of drawing the comparisons between these two players. So to like wrap a bow on it, I'll say I understand where you're coming from more now. It definitely was something that I was thinking about. It rang in my ears because a lot of times after we do the show and, you know, the camera goes off, you start thinking about some of the stuff and you're thinking to yourself like, damn, you know what? So I haven't come into this season looking at the Buffalo Bills the same way as seasons past. Like,
yeah.
The Bengals game in the playoffs really showed me a lot about this football team. And I'm thinking like, damn, bro, like you're just moving down that pecking order. You used to be the second bully on the block, but you just got bullied by the third bully. Now the fourth, now the fifth. Now you're not even a bully anymore. Now you're fighting to get back into the mix.
This is why I like having this.
We talk about the Philly. We talk about the Eagles schedule. Pull up the Bills schedule because the Bills schedule is a nightmare.
They got to play Philly
for the next month. Like the Bills might mess around and go like 1-4.
So here's the Bills schedule. They're home for the Jets this week. Next week they go to Philly for Philadelphia. Then they go to Arrowhead for Kansas City. Oh, this is going to be great. They're home for Dallas.
Dak versus
Spider-Man meme play.
Dak versus Josh Allen, bro. That's going to be amazing. That
Bills
might be the
at the Chargers. Pats at the Bills, and they end the season in Miami.
They have talent, but they can't dig deep. That's a good assessment of Buffalo. Like they don't have that second gear that like a team like Kansas City or Cincinnati
had a players
does.
only meeting the other day, like a week ago.
like,
and it did nothing. They lost.
Like, if you score first on the Chiefs or you score first on the Bengals, they're going to respond. If you score first on the Bills, they might not respond after that. Like, they'll respond with just chaos and fumbles and stupid penalties.
Here's the thing with the Bills. When they play when Allen goes off, it's 9 times out of 10, it's a bad defense.
They might not win another game.
Who said that?
Terrell, they're in shambles, bro. That list is...
I taught hellish shit on the Eagles gauntlet schedule. Guess what?
That's worse. That one's worse.
The Eagles have proven me wrong so far. And guess what? I thought like a month ago when the season started, I was like, yo, the Bills should beat them. Nope. I'm taking Philly in that game.
The Bills can't beat anybody. The Bills can't beat anybody right now. And it's one of the craziest sports stories of the modern era is a football team that so many people treated like they were the second coming. Like this was the team that was going to take the torch from the Chiefs and carry it into the next 5 years. This is the quarterback. This is the organization. These are the moves they made to pave the way to this point.
ESPN got
we already know about the documentary and the 4 Super Bowl losses. Like this was their chance to avenge and clear all of that. They never had a brighter future than in this moment outside of the 4 Super Bowl appearances in a row. This Bills team was supposed to be the chosen ones. They were treated that way, the golden child of the NFL. And they go out there and pull this crap.
They are currently in 10th place.
Jets going to shock them. They already shocked them.
Right now, the 7th seed.
Jets are going to sweep them.
Right now, I believe the 7th seed. Here we go.
They may win 1 or 2 at most and miss the playoffs. That's wild, bro.
Right now, the Buffalo Bills are the 10th seed in the playoffs. And they are currently 2-5 in the conference.
Bro, this is with Stephon Diggs. Imagine if Diggs ain't there. Imagine if Diggs ain't there and Gabe Davis is your primary wide receiver with this football team. They go right back to what they were before all this shit happened. Like, was Dayball that much of a difference to this guy? Because the turnovers started rearing their ugly faces last year. It wasn't this season. Yeah. Like, this season is just a reoccurring pattern of what was happening last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
right now the seeding for the AFC is the number 1 seed Chiefs 7-2 because they had the bye. Number 2 Baltimore 7-3. Number 3 Jacksonville 6-3. Number 4 Miami 6-3. And your wild cards right now are in 5th, 6th, 7th. It's Pittsburgh 6-3, Cleveland 6-3, and Houston 5-4. On the bubble right now is Cincy at 5-4, Indy at 5-5, and Buffalo at 5-5. And don't look now, the Raiders are 5-5.
Can the Bills beat the Raiders right now?
Ooh.
Right? Like, it makes you wonder. Like, a primetime game against the Raiders, and you put Buffalo back out there. Like, can they beat them at this point? I don't know what the spread is on this Bills-Jets game, but, I mean, 8 seconds into the season, Aaron Rodgers goes down, and this is supposed to be a blowout. Some people think Monday night should have been a blowout.
The Jets are fighting, though. Like, kudos to them for not quitting. They could have rolled over and died.
Yes. They're still alive.
I bet you
they
the
still have
Jets'
a pulse.
front offense is probably regretting this whole, maybe we should have went out and signed the quarterback or traded for a quarterback, because they got enamored because Zach Wilson took it to the Chiefs, and they were like, oh, man. Whew.
He finally did it.
Yeah.
This is what we held on to him for. He's learning from Aaron. He's learning.
McDermott is a good coach, but it's over. I think Sean McDermott, Brandon Allen of the Saints, Brandon Staley of the Chargers are your first 3 that are going to go.
Yeah,
Arthur Smith.
And McDermott is better than all those guys, but maybe with McDermott, shit just got stale. Like, this whole thing just got stale. Maybe it's just time for him to go somewhere else.
4 of those guys are done after the year. I also think that if Antonio Pierce keeps getting the Raiders to win, Antonio Pierce is going to keep the head coach job of the Raiders.
It's an interesting story unfolding with that team right now.
He's 2-0.
He's using Josh Jacobs again. Everybody's happy. They're dancing. Nobody hates their job anymore. And also, McDermott would make a lot of sense for the Falcons because the Falcons need a McDermott in their life. with the way that team is built, and you got Bijan Robinson out there, and you got a backup running back like Tyler Algier out there.
Arthur Smith's ignorant responses to when people ask why Bijan isn't being used is just ridiculous.
And he's growing the mustache back out. So he's going back into full heel mode. He's growing the mustache back out.
Your team spent an 8th overall pick. He's the better running back. What are you doing?
He gets mad that people are asking him.
Playoffs? I mean, they lost anyway to Arizona. Kyler came back and,
I don't know, man. That owner doesn't like black coaches. Which one? From Atlanta? You think Pat's got the Raiders? Okay, yeah, the Raiders' history is very murky, to say the least, when it comes to coaching.
He's hired
Algier, RB1. Yes, he is.
Which is crazy.
He is a beast, bro. Tyler Algier. I wish I kept him in Dynasty because there was a couple of weeks where I needed him desperately. The couple of weeks being the weeks that Saquon Barkley was hurt, of course, because football. That's where you insert the hot dog emoji in person, because what else can you say at that point? But yeah, for the good 4 weeks that he wasn't there, I would have loved to have been able to have a backup running back that is as productive as Tyler Algier is. He's basically Zach Charbonnet on steroids with the amount of carries that he gets in that offense. So, Arthur Smith deserves all the criticism in the world, and I don't expect him to keep this job heading into next year. There's a lot of question marks with this football team as far as who their quarterback is going to be next year, but I'm very grateful for the fact that Tyler Algier is featured heavily in this offense. I wouldn't be as grateful if I was a Bijan Robinson owner, though, and I wasn't looking to draft him this year. I didn't like it. It was scary out there. Falcons had no business.
I was reading that he's going to start getting his touches and all that, because I guarantee the pressure came from upstairs. They probably called Arthur in and said, Arthur, I spent an 8th overall pick on this man. Why is he not being used? Well, coach, owner, Arthur,
listen, you can't boil an egg in a minute and expect it to be ready, right? Am I right? That's the type of shit. Like, you walk in there.
Yeah, he probably looked at him and said,
we're about to fire this guy right now. I'm going to fire this motherfucker.
Do you want your job?
Can you step into the office? We're just wondering, like, are you trying to get fired? Or are you fucking with me?
The next coach, Robinson's getting used all day.
There's talent there.
Did I tell you the stat? They've been inside the 5-yard line this season. When the Falcons reach inside the 5-yard line, Bijan Robinson has 1 carry.
Everybody thought he was going to be the second coming for running backs.
Meanwhile, you keep getting stuffed with Tyler Algier, so why not throw in the other guy?
Look at Jahmyr Gibbs and what he's doing right now. And not just that, but if anything is a clear indication of Arthur Smith's violation against modern-day football, look at this past week what the Lions were able to do with Montgomery and Gibbs. Because when Montgomery comes back in the fold, you know that dude's going to eat, because that's what he does. When he's healthy, that man eats. Mm-hmm. But the fact that Gibbs is getting his fair share after the good weeks that he had prior to Montgomery coming back with his injury is something that, like, for the Falcons, the ownership is probably looking at that, and it's like, what the fuck? Like, what have we done?
Yeah.
And the talent is all there across the board. The Atlanta Falcons were my pick to win this division. But it's like the one thing that's holding them back
I don't know why the comments
is the head coach.
Haven't kept popping up.
Terrell says trade him. Robinson's second year will be good. He has 2 touchdowns on the year so far. Gibbs definitely has an argument for touches. Yeah, Jahmyr Gibbs is out there outshining Bijan Robinson right now.
Yeah, how do you... When Montgomery's back, Montgomery's back, but...
He's back. 75-yard touchdown. Woo! Brought me back. Brought me all the way back from the depths of a league I'm in right now. He saved my whole season with that run. That was crazy.
Keep equaling the touches.
Yeah, and they will. Because now with Montgomery healthy, you're seeing what he can do with the touches that he's getting. Like, the dude is... I mean... That cat won me a fantasy championship because of what he does. And what he does is when he's healthy, he puts in the work. It's almost like in the same vein as a Nick Chubb. When David Montgomery is healthy and you start him, you don't have to worry, man. Like, you're less worried because you know that at least one guy is going to do their job. And that guy is David freaking Montgomery. When he ran that 75-yard touchdown on Sunday, I got chills, bro. I got chills because I knew what it meant. I knew what it meant for me, and I knew what it meant for my 2-7 team that desperately needed a win. And I am now 3-7, still alive because of David Montgomery. Granted, the Lions offense is better than the Atlanta Falcons offense. I get it, but like all that talent out there in Atlanta, like Drake London and Pitts, and like even with Hollins shows up and does his thing. It's like a miniature Gabe Davis almost.
Yeah.
Lions been implementing the 2 running back system last couple of years. That's true too. That's a very good point. The fact that they had, Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, but sometimes it's like they were implementing that 2 running back method similar to what's happening right now based on injuries and what they needed to do. You know what I mean? To be able to get by. With DeAndre Swift and his injury history when he was in Detroit, there was always multiple backs that were involved. So they definitely do know how to use that's probably the best dynamic duo in football right now as far as running backs. Like, I love it. I love having Montgomery, and I love having Jahmyr Gibbs. Because when a lot of people were on the internet telling you to trade them, I held on. I just waited it out. And it's been worth it because the Lions are putting up points. And Jared Goff has, besides like one game, nothing but dome games ahead of him for the rest of this season. And another matchup against the Bears this week that is going to be very fruitful for him if you are a fantasy owner.
Mm-hmm.
I just got him in the trade. Yeah, but the context of the trade is what's a little bit crazy. You got him in a trade, but, it's just a lot of other – but I love David Montgomery.
A lot going on.
That's my favorite part. That's my favorite player of the package that you received. I'm not sure what exactly Jose was thinking when he sent that trade out to everybody this morning. Really don't know what he was thinking because I looked at it and then I logged out of the app and I just I started thinking for a minute because he was asking me for Brock Purdy and somebody else. But the thing is, my quarterbacks in this 2-quarterback league are Tua, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, and freaking Taylor Heineke. Heineke, I'm not sure if he's going to be the starter because the Falcons are weird. And Mac Jones, I'm not sure about him either. So to trade away my QB2, I took that 20 to 30 seconds and was thinking it over. And in that span of time, I saw trade now pending, logged in and saw that he sent the exact same players to Terrell, who in return sent Lamar Jackson and DK Metcalf. Who Metcalf is not. I've never been a big Metcalf
Chris
guy.
Chris ain't gonna let this one down.
Zach motherfucking Wilson. I'm gonna start Russ and Baker. Hey, listen.
Yeah,
Baker Mayfield has not been a bad play for fantasy football this year, especially being attached to a top 7 wide receiver as far as overall fantasy football points in Mike Evans. Like, Baker Mayfield succeeds off of that naturally. He eats off of that. And he has not been a bad play at all.
Baker Mayfield this season, 2,143 yards, 14 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Not bad at all. He's averaging in his last 3 games 2 touchdowns a game.
Yeah. That's what they're doing there. Rashad White is producing. Their offense is, thriving more than a lot of other offenses that we expected to thrive.
I'm surprised Skip Bayless ain't talking about him. You know how he gets with him.
No, he went on a tangent on Buffalo right now.
Did he? Oh,
yeah, everybody's going in on the Buffalo Bills. He definitely brought up the turnovers, though. I don't watch it now because the group that they have together, I don't watch a lot of mainstream media, to be totally honest with you. I talk to you guys about sports, and then I tune into my shows on YouTube that I like to watch as far as fantasy football because they're funny and they're entertaining. But as far as mainstream media goes, I'm not sure what these guys are talking about. I just know that I watched a clip of Skip Bayless, and he was talking about the Josh Allen situation and his got the most turnover-prone quarterback, or I don't know how he worded it, but it didn't sound good. The future all of a sudden got really dark and cloudy for a team that 2 years ago on this podcast, they were our 2 seed. They were our 1 seed. Like they,
I picked them to win the championship last year.
Yeah, we all picked them to go to the Super Bowl last year. Last year, our Super Bowl was 49ers and Bills. And they went out there and they just watched the Bengals just run plays on them, bro.
In the snow.
They watched the Cincinnati Bengals just go out there and run plays. They were making
snow angels in Archer Park.
Yes, they were. You poured the ketchup and the mustard on that old man out there for no reason. That's the ritual out there. You jump through tables and you pour the ketchup and the mustard, and it's supposed to bring like a magic. You don't. You just go home with it. You just go home still smelling like it. Mac Jones just got pushed to the back of the pack. Yeah, that's exactly why I wasn't trying to trade.
They're going to push Mac Jones out just to have Billy Zappi.
You saw Belichick. He was just like, "What the fuck?" that was the way they ended.
That's why
I shared
that picture today. Like, Belichick's success has come with Tom Brady. Like, if you go and think about it, I know he's got more Super Bowls than Andy Reid, but dude,
Bill Belichick
I'm starting to think Andy Reid's the better head coach.
Bill Belichick has already lost half the amount of total games that he ever lost when he had Tom Brady there for, 20 years?
Yeah.
He's already lost half that amount without him. What did Tom Brady do when he left the Patriots? He went and won a Super Bowl. Literally, all he had to do was do that, and he did it. Just to solidify the fact, you're done. This is it. You're going back to the Patriots team that's holding the football between their legs, wearing the red, white, and blue. We all remember that Patriots team, and it's not for good reasons. Because they were the drizzling shits.
But that was I had to really think about it. Like, Andy Reid's record without Pat Mahomes is pretty damn impressive, too. He didn't win a Super Bowl.
It's an
impressive resume. He never had a guy like Pat Mahomes earlier in his career. He had Donovan McNabb.
Yeah.
Who, a lot of people make fun of, but he was before Jalen Hurts' success. Some consider the greatest Eagles quarter. McNabb catches slack because of throwing up in the Super Bowl, but overall, his numbers, his winning record, he had more success than
Randall
Cunningham ever did.
McNabb catches slack for throwing up in the Super Bowl, but McNabb also catches slack for doing shit like losing to the Panthers in the NFC Championship and losing to the Bucks in the NFC Championship, throwing the horrific pick six. The slack comes more from the journey to get to the championship game than what actually happened in the Super Bowl, because that Super Bowl team that played the Patriots and lost to the buzzsaw New England Patriots team was beloved by everybody. They had T.O., McNabb. Nobody really hated that team. They were a 13-3 football team, and Philly finally made it back. It was more everything before that, to where once they got to the Super Bowl and he did what he did, it automatically just triggered that the McNabb heat was already there. They just you got to turn the stove. You got to turn the knob on the stove, and
either way,
Super Bowl, that's what happened.
Either way, the debate's going to start happening now. I mean, if you take the Super Bowls out,
Andy wins games with anyone. Let's think about, he got Alex Smith, and the Chiefs had a great record when Alex Smith was the starting quarterback.
Bro, he made Michael Vick look amazing. In his return after not playing football for 2.5 years.
The 10-6 Eagles
Bro,
team.
He made AJ Philly look like a starting caliber quarterback. He made Kevin Cobb look like the bee's knees.
Andy lost a lot of championship matches. That was always the critique. He never had the quarterback. He kept losing them with the Chiefs until Pat Mahomes. The Kansas City Chiefs under Andy Reid are a consummate playoff team. Nobody remembers those teams because it's Alex Smith and those Chiefs.
Since Mahomes has become the starting quarterback of the Chiefs, they've ended their season either at the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game.
Nobody remembers the year that Andrew Luck came back and beat the Chiefs when the Chiefs had that crazy lead on them.
Kevin Cobb like the next coming. He did. He fleeced the Cardinals when he traded them. And then Kevin Cobb fleeced the Cardinals with that massive contract. And Kevin Cobb was benched before the year was over.
Speaking of the Cardinals, they're 1-8, right?
And trying to win games. What are you doing?
They start Kyler Murray. They don't try. They actually won the game on Sunday. So it's what are you doing? When I started Kyler because I'm thinking fantasy football, but in the back of my mind, as far as reality in the 2024 draft, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, you traded Dobbs. I get that. You're 1-8. Totally understand. You traded back in the entirety of the 2023 draft with everybody who would. And then you go out, you bring Kyler back earlier than anybody expected because we were ready to write him off for the year.
I did.
Looking at this team. And you go out there and you beat the Falcons in a meaningful NFC game when it comes to the wild card.
Yeah.
So, like...
Well, it's the same thing with the Panthers. It would behoove the Panthers to win more games. Like, that number one spot doesn't belong to you guys. It belongs to the Bears.
That's another thing with the Panthers. Like, what did you trade the Bears for? Now that I think about it.
Bryce Young looks befuddled. He looks confused. He looks like the game is taking him way too much. But then there's times where you see certain drives, you see certain plays, and you're like, okay, I can see why the potential. I thought he was the better quarterback out of him and Stroud. Boy, was I wrong.
The Panthers might be the worst team in football, and the Houston Texans, in my eyes, like, I'm the most impressed by them and what they've been able to do. And the fact that they beat the Cincinnati Bengals, who I always pick the Bengals. they came back and beat Cincinnati the way that they did. Or not came back, they had the lead. What am I saying? They had the lead in that game for a long period as we were in the On the Money Sports Lounge trying to keep up with everything that was going on. And you're thinking to yourself, like, all right, like the hype around this kid, what he's been able to do. They won last week. And like this Cincinnati Bengals game was supposed to be the one where it kind of exposes a young rookie quarterback against a good defense. The Cincinnati Bengals are a good defense. And he goes out there and they come out with a 27-24 victory over Cincinnati, which for Cincinnati makes Thursday Night Football all the more important because of the fact that they lost on Sunday the way that they did to Houston.
It's a must win.
They flipped the board on Cincinnati.
If the Bengals were to lose Thursday night, their season could potentially be over.
What up, Aaron?
And then on the flip side of the other team they're going to play, the Ravens had a 17-point lead or something like that, and they blew it.
That pick six was crazy.
There's all three of the Ravens' losses, they've had double-digit leads and lost.
That pick six was crazy.
And Lamar, he has not been impressive this year. He's been beating up real bad teams, no doubt.
He's not putting up eye-popping numbers. I mean, they beat up the Lions. Lions are a real good team. He's not putting up crazy numbers.
That was their best game of the year.
He's not putting, and they beat up Seattle. Like, they've had a few good games.
Here we go.
He's just not putting up the flashy numbers. That's really
Lamar Jackson has 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
But they're also a top 5 defense, and their defense is out there looking better than it has in years. You can say that for a lot of football teams. Like, without your defense, I'm sorry, but you wouldn't be 6-3.
Sucks.
You wouldn't be 6-3 if your defense wasn't playing.
We just get the ball at the right. We turn
force fumbles. That's it. Like that shit.
At the right time.
It turns things around.
It's a killer matchup because right now Cincinnati is 0-2 in the division. They've already lost to Baltimore this year. Baltimore coming off a brutal blow, a deflating loss because now you find out that Watson had a broken bone in his shoulder that whole game.
Done for the year. Dorian Thompson.
And your defense is the bread and butter, and then you got Lamar doing terrible pick sixes. He threw 2 picks, bad picks. They're both in like a situation where they need to win.
Yeah.
Baltimore needs to win so they can not like say
Bengals need it more though.
Like Baltimore can't be like, oh my god, we just lost. Baltimore like, oh, we just lost 2 more. Is this going to turn into last year? How we kept losing
back-to-back division games sucks.
Yeah.
But the Bengals still need this shit more because of what happened on Sunday.
I expect Cincinnati to win tomorrow night. I know it sounds like I've been saying the contrary. No, I expect Cincinnati to win. Cincinnati's backs is against the wall. Like I said, if Cincinnati loses this game, they go 1-5 in the conference and now 0-3 in the division, and they drop the 5-5. That spells doom for you when you got to talk about tiebreakers, when you got to talk about seeding. If Baltimore wins, now they're 8-3. All that crap gets quieted. Like, we forget about the Cleveland game. Now, on the flip side of Cincy wins, it helps them with their in-division record. It helps them, solidify and get to 6-4 and quite possibly, only be a game or two out of first place. Baltimore now loses 2 in a row, and now you're 7-4, and you're sitting there going, whoa. Are we going to go on a slide?
Whoa, it starts getting slippery. It starts getting slippery.
But
not for nothing, the fact that right now, every team in that division is in the playoff picture. So for the first place team in that division to lose just opens up Pandora's box, not just for the AFC North, but for the AFC period. It's all one game. It's all one game. That's what it comes down to.
Baltimore would be 2-2 in the division.
Yes. I think Cincinnati's going to win tomorrow.
I think so too.
I think they're going to win. They know they lost to this team,
and I don't think it's going to be this defensive struggle that people think. Oh, it's going to be fireworks.
Are you thinking fantasy football points?
I'm thinking fantasy fireworks.
Cincinnati back against the wall for the most part does well. For the most part, they've done well against Baltimore, which makes the Baltimore win early in the season more impressive.
Start Trent Irwin tomorrow, guys.
That motherfucker. Oh, bro. I was looking at his name before Sunday. And I'm saying to myself, like, why am I going to pick? Am I really going to start this guy? Like, what are the odds that he gets a touchdown?
I thought about
and then I watched him score, and I just stood there quietly.
You did.
You guys were talking, and I just kind of stood there, and I
had to hurry up and keep talking because I had the same thought in multiple leagues.
I was like, you wanted to move on, but I needed that moment to gather my thoughts. Because I said to myself,
What's up, Chino?
I was talking about this guy in my mind.
I wish I could update these comments on here. I don't know why it's doing that.
We'll figure it out. It's all good. I'm trying to sit here and bust a trade real quick in Nick's league. So I just kind of
Who hit you up,
my
Nick?
phone. No, not Nick. Lee hit me up. So I'm gonna see what happens.
So tomorrow night, I think is going to be a big night of football.
It's a huge night. It's a huge night for the AFC playoff picture. Like, it changes everything.
Listen, me personally, if the Bengals win and we win, we're in first place. We're in first freaking place.
Which is crazy as hell.
And we'd be 3-0 in the division.
It's fucking crazy as hell when you think about it.
So,
I don't think anybody can really answer that as far as you guys being 6-3 right now. And it's just wild. Because you look at the team and you look at everything, like, but then again, you look at all 4 of these teams lined up. Like, I picked the Ravens to win a lot of football games this year.
There's a lot of teams that are inconsistent this season. It's just not the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's a lot of teams that are inconsistent this year.
I think that
and those guys have premier quarterbacks. Where we got a guy who doesn't throw across the middle. He hasn't been throwing past the line of scrimmage. I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Just turning the knife on the kid, bro. I was waiting for it.
Bro, I just can't do it. Like, I was a big biggest supporter.
Money sat in the On the Money Sports Lounge in front of all of us,
screaming at him.
And he said he's got 1 year. He's got 1 year. You said it like 4 times. It was like everybody's like, yo, this man has completely turned on his boy Kenny Two Hands.
He got to the end of next year. If he doesn't show me nothing, go draft another quarterback.
Trade accepted. I just traded Kenny Walker for Derrick Henry. Bing bada boom.
But yeah, I'm done with that. I can't. He's killing us. He's holding us back right now. The run game's going. It's giving our defense time to sit on the field, sit down, and not be on the field all game long. And then all of a sudden, this guy comes out. He can't hit a simple freaking crosser sometimes. I seen 3 plays Sunday out of my eyes. I'm watching. Idiots not throwing the ball. Like, Pickens wide open.
The sidearm.
Deontay Johnson drops a ball. Like, ugh.
Deontay Johnson with almost 2 points this past week. In the league,
the Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to sign a guy like Kirk Cousins next year. It's going to cost too much money right now.
Kirk Cousins to the Steelers next year.
It's going to cost too much money, and Pittsburgh's not going to devote their cap to that. Pittsburgh is stubborn and loyal to a fault.
Yeah, it is definitely a weird year.
Like, I love Mike Tomlin, but you know what? Win a playoff game, bro. I've never lost, had a losing season starting to annoy the shit out of me.
You can't crack an egg on the sidewalk when the sun ain't shining.
It's always middle of the pack. Start in the middle, end in the middle, draft in the middle. Maybe God knows I'm just mentally like crazy and I'm gonna go nuts if they have a losing season. I'll act like I'm okay to you guys, and then when you guys go home, I'll be like this.
You know what? That's the interesting thing, because that's another thing I was listening to today. It feels like there's two stories when it comes to your football team. There's everybody outside of Steeler world that aren't fans of them that are wondering how the fuck they're 6-3 and are impressed by it. And then there's Steeler fans themselves knowing that the ceiling is beyond just having a good regular season record. It's like, we need the playoff wins. Winning. We need Kenny Pickett to get his shit together. This offense is atrocious. Like, so it's very interesting. Like, everybody
it's like I'm
in
watching
the bubble.
Duck Hodges again.
Good old Duck Hodges, bro. Duck Hodges wasn't the worst, though. It was easy to root for that guy. Oh,
it's like I'm watching Duck again, dude. Like, come on.
He's Barry Horowitz. That was a jobber that was easy to root for.
And it's not like I don't think the kid can play. It's just something's wrong with him mentally right now. It's either that or his ribs are really messed up and they're lying about it. And the kid can only muster up 3 or 5 good deep throws a game because his ribs hurt that bad.
He completely turned on him.
Because that could...
He's done with him.
I'm not done with him. I said I'll be done after the 2024
you put a time limit. You put a time limit on him, and that's when you know you're done with him.
And then today he's going to answer a question. Yeah, I want to throw more down the field, but we also got to be... No, stop being cautious, bitch. You got to risk it for the biscuit.
Well, this is a top 5 pass defense this coming week. So how much throwing down the field do you actually want Kenny to do?
We got to run. Jalen Warren needs to continue what he's been doing. Najee Harris has to continue to do what he's been doing for the last couple weeks.
The run has to work.
The two of them need to keep doing what they've been doing. They have combined now for the last 2 weeks, both of them, for over 300 yards combined.
Would you reject the Kenny Pickett trade if someone sent you Pickett right now?
I was going to drop him in one of my trade offers in Gridiron if the guy accepted my deal.
Yeah, he turned on his ass. That didn't take long. So after next year, maybe you guys have a new quarterback. Is it ready to? Are we ready to explore that conversation? You're not ready to look past next year?
He's going to ride out his 5-year deal, dude. I keep telling y'all, the Steelers are...
There's more time to let the resentment fester.
They're loyal.
You're going to hate
them. It's loyal to a fault.
You're going to hate them.
Like, after this season, both coordinators should be gone. Both coordinators. Matt Cannon better be gone, and Terrell Austin should be gone.
Well, we just saw the Bills' offensive coordinator go, so is that going to trigger a chain reaction?
And Mike Tomlin should be told to his face, you got to win a playoff game if you want your contract extended beyond this season.
Yeah. You're lucky you'll get matched up with Kansas City in Kansas City or something.
Oh, we'll get blown out.
It'll be something messed up.
Well, you know, I don't know if they'll blow us out. They're not blowing anybody out of the water this year.
They might blow y'all out, though. All Kansas City has to do is get in the playoffs. They like a lot of teams have been figuring it out along the way and are still winning a lot of football games without even looking like the best version of themselves. So if they turn that shit on at the right time, I've seen enough Kansas City football to know how this works. They stumble and fumble through September and October, and then all of a sudden in November and December, you look back and they haven't lost a game in like 2 months. And they carry that energy into the playoffs. So it would just suck to be matched up with them in the first round, is all I'm saying. Y'all wouldn't keep up. Yeah, they wouldn't be able to. And also the Chiefs defense is good, like really good. The Chiefs defense is good on both fronts, reality and fantasy. They're getting a lot of fantasy points for people, and they're making big plays for the team while the team is figuring out what to do on offense. When your primary targets are Rashee Rice, Kadarius Toney, Hardman, it's kind of hard to have that wide receiver run. In a year where Travis Kelce isn't really the same Travis Kelce as far as the production value that we're getting out of him or what we're used to from him.
I think the Chiefs ain't winning the Super Bowl this year or even going to the Super Bowl.
They look like they'll get beat in the AFC Championship. Like they look like they can get far enough there, and then they're just not going to be able to turn it to a second gear going up against a red hot team on the AFC side. That's what I see. Like if the Ravens beat the Bengals tomorrow.
Because the problem is I can't believe I'm saying this. Terrell's gonna hate me because he thinks I'm jinxing him. I think the Eagles beat them.
What, Monday?
Yep.
Well, should we get to that? Should we do the on the money picks? Should we tie that all in?
Well, my 2-3 record from this past weekend. Thanks a lot, Cincy, and thanks a lot, Baltimore.
2-3 also. I tried not to shy away from anything in my on the money picks this week. Current record is 31-19. I went 2-3 last week.
I'll have it figured out Sunday for the TikTok heads.
I'm picking prime time, leading off with a prime time matchup. Broncos, Vikings. I'm taking the Denver Broncos to end the 5-game winning streak of the Minnesota Vikings. I'm taking the Broncos to get the W. My second pick, I've got the Arizona Cardinals beating the Houston Texans.
Woo!
They're trying to win games. And what I thought was going to be the game to do the Texans in last week could potentially be this game. The Cardinals, who we thought were tanking, but apparently are not tanking. And everybody who picked up Trey McBride in the last couple of weeks came out of that feeling pretty good.
Over love.
My number 3 pick, told you I was getting spicy with it. I'm taking the New York Football Jets on a clean sweep of the Buffalo Bills. I don't know if the Bills are going to get it together, but I think this is the right time of year to be playing Buffalo with them being in total shambles. So I'm taking the Jets. I'm taking the defense. I'm going with them, getting the W in an ugly, low-scoring matchup because that dude's going to throw a lot of picks. Number 4, I'm going with the Cincinnati Bengals over the Baltimore Ravens Thursday Night Football in a game that they pretty much must win. And finally, at number 5, Monday Night Football, I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs over the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that you cannot run on Philly at all. I know that that's the true reality and the nature of things, but I don't think that Philly still has an answer for Patrick Mahomes throwing it down the field and being able to carve them up through the air.
That would be the nail in the coffin for Buffalo if they lose.
Yeah, it could potentially be the nail in the coffin. I could definitely see that. And I can also see the Philadelphia Eagles are going to lose on Monday night because of Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is going to turn the ball over.
Yeah,
This game, I know you got it circled on your calendar, but sometimes the anticipation for one of these matchups, it's so big, and you're looking forward to it so much.
Everybody's still going crazy over Jalen Hurts and how great he is, but you're going based off of his fantasy numbers. If you look at his real life numbers,
I'm gonna love the fantasy production that he gives me because I'm definitely starting him in the league that I have him. I'm gonna fire him up, but I also know that I'm gonna have to deal with potentially fumbles and interceptions because, like I said, this Chiefs defense is very good. Very good. You can hyper target AJ Brown. It's been working. They haven't really been looking like anywhere else.
He's thrown 4 picks in his last 5 games.
4-1 at best. I'll take 4-1. Especially, I have like a 12-game lead on these guys right now. So it's 4-1. After going 2-3, 4-1 will be amazing. I mean, I think that the Chiefs are going to do what they did the last time they beat you guys because you don't have to change up the formula when it works. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to throw on them because the Eagles can't stop the throw. The Eagles secondary is trash. That's the reality of the situation. So you can't attack the teeth of the front 7 and run the ball. Pacheco is probably not going to get you a lot of fantasy points this week. I'm sorry. I know everybody wants to start him. I don't see it against the Eagles defense because you can't run on them. You can throw on them. And Patrick Mahomes is going to throw. And that's going to lead to Philadelphia being forced to throw more, which is going to lead to interceptions. You know, you might get off with a tush push here and there, but I don't think it's going to be enough to win what I think is going to be a high-scoring affair in the 40s and 30s. I think the Chiefs can put up 40 on the Eagles defense. And I think they could win by like 10 points, honestly. We can definitely be better. I mean, yeah, but so can Kansas City.
Beaten them like 4 or 5 times.
Kansas City can be better too, though. Like both teams have not really looked their best up to this point. So this matchup is like huge, but it's like you can have the same argument for either team as far as the obvious flaws that are there. But as far as Chiefs defense and Eagles defense, I give the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs the edge. They're the better defense. And the better offense might be Kansas City also.
They're hungry for this game, but don't blow your load on this game.
We need to beat the Chiefs.
If you've been saving yourself for this game, and
I mean, it's AFC versus NFC at the end of the day.
You're lucky you're in the NFC.
It's more important to win the NFC games, but I get why this game is circled on the calendar. I totally understand, but I'm just saying what I think is going to end up happening is Pat Mahomes has a good day through the air, and the Chiefs defense has an even better day due to turnovers.
It's an Arrowhead, ain't it?
I think so.
Oh, I'm reverting my pick to the Chiefs. What am I thinking?
You made your picks already?
No, I'm just thinking. Earlier I said I think the Eagles are going to win. I know. I just realized it's an Arrowhead.
And so once
all
again,
prime time, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid off of the bye. What the hell was I thinking?
Once again,
thank goodness I didn't turn in my pool paper yet.
I may not do my money line on this, but as far as my on the money picks goes, I am going Denver, Arizona, New York, Jets, that is, Bengals from Cincinnati, and Kansas City. And my start of the week is once again a tie. No matter what, I cannot move away from the running back position. I'm going with Devon Achane, and I'm also going with Tyreek Hill, because the Dolphins are back and they're playing the Raiders, and there's a high chance that one of those two guys might go completely off.
Chino, KC Ray Sports Bar and Pub, Monday night. All Eagles welcome. Yes, Arrowhead Chiefs Kingdom. Everything stacked against us. I love it.
I mean, it was stacked against you in the Super Bowl too. And
I remember how that turned out.
Kansas City, I think, is just going to perform better on Monday. That's all it is. And then you can go back to the NFC. You can beat those teams. The Eagles are probably going to beat the Bills.
They're going to beat the Bills.
I just think for this particular week, I'm giving it's Andy Reid coming off a bye week. I can't. All the times that people regurgitated that shit back to me
when they were in Philly, when he was in Philly, that's all you heard.
Off a bye week, the best historical record. They're not thinking about that. They're not thinking about that at all. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because Philly and the underdogs, and I get it. I totally get it. But this man is doing, he's doing God's work. Like, this man's coming off a bye week once again, and there's nobody better than him.
Is Lane Johnson going to wear the dog mask to Kansas City?
Who knows? I know we're going to get a lot of coverage of Taylor Swift and the Kelsey brothers, and probably another Kelsey commercial.
The family is going to meet the Swift family.
They're getting annoying. All of them. It's not just her. It's all of them. Like, the Chiefs were already annoying to me as it was.
Arizona over Houston is spicy, Noli said, and Terrell just said it's just part of the obstacles.
I get it. I got to get spicy because apparently Arizona's not tanking. They're trying to win games. So I also think that matchup is going to be pretty good for fantasy football. It would have to take Kyler Murray having a dud game for, Houston to get the W.
Beating of the Celtics this week. That's all right.
And that's without Jaylen Brown and without somebody else.
That's all right.
They had.
They were due to lose like 2 in a row after all those wins in a row.
Well, it doesn't matter because you guys aren't going to beat the Celtics in the playoffs anyway. You beat them during the regular season. So,
Bills Allen takes offensive coordinator firing personally. Yeah, you should.
Was he the one on Instagram tweeting Stephon Diggs? All that. Oh, and also, I'm not going to go crazy telling you what to do as far as with your money on DraftKings and Sportsbook and FanDuel, whatever. But if I was you, which means I'm going to do it, I would put in for Brian Robinson anytime touchdown against the G-Men, because I think that he is going to have a pretty good day. That's what I would say. If you want to get even spicier, you can do first touchdown of the game type shit. But I don't know if I'm going to do that. I still have to consider my options. I sit down on Saturday and I start putting things together. Tomorrow night's Thursday night football game might set the tone for the entire weekend in Sunday football based on how that plays out. Hoping we get fantasy points, because if it's a defensive struggle, then you're going to have to require more from your Sunday starts. As you can see, the nostalgia display is in full effect for the new look of On the Money podcast. Giants money line, book it. There it is. There it is.
Yeah, that was.
I think I'm staying away from the money line this week, bro. I'm gonna go over unders.
I'm staying away from anything from the Giants.
Over unders. Give that shit a break.
Anytime touchdown, Steelers defense.
We'll see, man. What if Dorian Thompson has a day?
I'll be sad.
And for him, like a day could be throwing a touchdown and a pick because it's going to be a low-scoring game regardless of field position and which defense can make the most big plays. That's what it comes down to. Who gets the most turnovers and where you're at when you get the turnover. And now you're in the red zone. That's an easy touchdown, and that can go either way. So
let's not get disrespectful now, money. I'm sorry, Chris, but it's a bad year for y'all.
Yeah.
Remember, I predicted y'all would get a 7th seed, and y'all threw egg in my face. That's one of the things I've been wrong so far on.
Well, technically, right now, I have both you and the Broncos in the 7th seed. And I haven't made my mind up yet because guess what? Both teams are already winning more football games than I imagined. I still
stay on my prediction since he ain't winning the division.
I picked Ravens to win, if I'm not mistaken. So I knew that there was something that was going to end up holding Cincy back. However, I think that they get the big win. And I think, hey, we could end up seeing these teams a third time come playoff time, which will be even crazier. But, yeah, until then, this has been another edition of On the Money Podcast. Drake over Caleb is all I'm going to say. Next time, same place, we're going to be breaking down everything leading into a very, very busy
Thanksgiving week.
Yeah, it's a huge week.
Gobble next Wednesday.
Huge week for family. Huge week for sports. There's going to be a lot going on.
I'm off that Thursday, so I'm going to be chilling.
We're going to
might even be having some beers. And
we might throw a special twist into next week's podcast in celebration of one of my favorite holidays. But nonetheless, it's been a great sports conversation. We'll try to add a little bit more basketball next week. We just got caught up in the storylines with football because we are in the heart of the season.
Getting your names on
figure out Facebook user and figure out who I know through
another big feature I'm going to be looking into is bringing your faces on camera with your phone.
Fight tomorrow night after the game. So we got some boxing.
So if you guys want to, we can bring you on camera. And you can speak as well with us.
And just chill with us the entirety of the podcast. It's something that we did early on. We'd have somebody call in, and a lot of times the callers would end up
I'm bringing the calls hanging. Back. The calls coming back.
Have the call-ins and talk your shit.
We'll get the phone number going again. We're going to have an On the Money Sports hotline. We're going to be bumping.
So until then, same time, same place. This has been another production by On the Money Sports. And everybody out there, peace.